That was Cold Dead Skin off of a 3-song demo from the new band, The Palace of Tears, made up of Leah Kahn, the vocalist, and Eric Scheid, who I became friends with when he was in Mercury's Antenna, and now joining us from their home in New Orleans to talk to us about the demo and the new material that they're working on, and a few other things that we've kind of thought up to talk about. It's Eric and Leah from the Palace of Tears. Hello and welcome to New Music Mondays.
Thanks so much for having us.
Hi, Davey. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you too. It's been a while. I really enjoyed your work in Mercury's Antenna, booked your band once for a fun show, yep. And yeah, just really appreciate your history as a musician. I want to talk to you both about your histories as musicians, and I think I'd like to start off though by congratulating you on those demos that came out earlier this year. I think the 3 songs on the demos are really good, and I'm excited to hear about how that demos came about, and also about the new material that you're working on.
Well, the demos came about through just a year-long kind of making a bunch of demos. To one of the songs called Mask, which is on the Bandcamp site, was our first song that me and Leah wrote together in Portland. And then about a year after that, on that song, or within that year, I moved down to New Orleans, and then summer of 2019, we just kind of started working on a lot of material. And the 3 songs on Bandcamp are from our first kind of recordings of the summer into the winter. And then now, since then, we've been working on our debut album.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And tell us about the new material that you're working on. I know you're working pretty hard on a new album called Of Ruination that you're expecting to be released sometime in mid-October.
Well, the title itself kind of refers to what everyone is going through collectively. So that is directly, for me, it was the lyrics were inspired by what's going on through the calamity and the pandemic, and I tried to make it poetic, as poetic as I could. And actually that was an old demo that Eric he kept forgetting about, that I was just so in love with. And I said, what about demo B? Yeah. And I pulled a melody out of that I kind of improvised, and, combined it with my lyrics, and just, it worked really nicely, just as the title track. And it ended up being the title track of the album. But I wouldn't say the whole album is about the pandemic necessarily, but it's nice to have something that kind of captures the moments that we're all kind of going through. And it is an interesting time to come up with your first album, which for me, it is my first.
Right, yeah. Well, I want to hear more about the album, but you're bringing up a good point that I also wanted to touch on, which is that you are getting your band off the ground and actively writing songs and recording songs in a very particular and peculiar time in our society's history, an intense, charged time. And I'm wondering how, well, obviously the title track reflects how the pandemic is affecting your creative output. We're also dealing with, a reckoning around social justice issues and facing the brunt of climate change. I was under a dark red sky here in the Bay Area, which I'm sure you saw plenty of photographs on Facebook about today. So we're really thinking about climate change a lot in the West Coast here right now. How has all of these things that we're dealing with as a society impacting your creative output, maybe both logistically and practically, but also on a kind of an emotional and creative level?
Yeah, the first question that's been streaming along since starting music with Leah and then going into the pandemic was like, how the hell am I going to offer this and try to be an artist throughout this. On top of being a chef, which is my other career. And it's actually been a hard question to answer. It's kind of like finding your own way through a lot of chaos and a lot of unknowns, taking a lot of risks, and trying to find the best way to put out art during times of crisis, and not only just the pandemic, but the way the world has and it is in its current moment with social justice, heavy weather disaster stuff, people's frame of mind in general. And me personally, I always felt since I was even young that music is a healing uh, medium for people. People come together through music. Any kind of protest, pandemic, even anything in the world that has caused so much chaos and has lit a dark blanket over a lot of light is music. People come together for music. And so I've also just been, it's been so hard to accept how many artists, musicians and beyond are so affected by it. It's not just for basic human beings and the world itself. It's just so really intense. And it weighs a lot of heaviness, you know, spiritually, but it also creates a more inspiration and motivation, not only to take risks on putting out art during such a hard time, hopefully seeing as an offering for a space to put on music for them to have a sense of calm and healing and imagination and all those things. Well, so during the beginning of our working on the album, we weren't really in the pandemic. And so I think in some ways, some of the songs shift into a more cerebral, ethereal kind of realm. And then during the middle of the album, it starts to go into more of a heavier kind of mood, which kind of, I think the latter of the songs were written during the pandemic crisis.
Mhm.
So you'll definitely feel like a lot of shifts, variations as the album's out. And it's also been inspiring for new work to come up eventually too during all this.
And I would like to add that if there, I see definitely there's a lot of facets to the situation where he mentioned the crisis. Some people would see crisis as an opportunity. And fortunately, you know, artists who are experienced with periods of isolation, I have to say this is not my first time being in isolation, but usually I didn't have to wear a mask. So there are some things that are really annoying after a while, but I'm grateful that it became an incubator unexpectedly for us to really make something happen. And I'm so lucky that we have the means to do it. And Eric is very resourceful, and we've made a creative space here to do something. But yes, I mean, I've also had my moment where it took a while, but I finally just let it all out one day and was just kind of in tears about not being able to go out and gather that inspiration from your environment through your interactions with other artists and seeing other musicians perform, especially in New Orleans. I mean,
Yeah,
it is utterly devastating.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you know, a lot of questions that that is the question is, do I release something new to the world right now? And what does that mean? And I think there is not a better time right now to give as much art out into the world than now. I mean, I just look forward to anything that people release and see how they do it. You know, there's just not a better time but now to release art.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, we need it for sure. I mean, music is healing. You said it like at the very beginning of your answer to the question, and that is that's gonna stick with me, you know. And that kind of just kind of ties together so many conversations that I've been having with musicians over the past couple months for sure. So how many songs? Let's get back to the album. How many songs are going to be on the new release?
Looking at about 7 or 8 songs.
Yeah.
2 instrumentals and 6
Yeah, 6 full on.
vocals.
That's great. Cool. And are you just doing it the two of you, or do you have anybody sort of helping you with the recording process and stuff like that?
We've done all the recording and instruments and vocals all ourselves. I'm a firm believer of do DIYing it, and also unfortunately during our time here, it would be really impossible to afford anyone to record us. So I've had that kind of lifestyle, so I've had to learn pretty quickly how to make nice beautiful sounding recordings, but yes, we've done all our own instruments, vocals, everything.
Right, great.
But we do plan to get the album mastered by a friend of mine in Portland, Oregon, who's in a band called We Are Parasols. I'm a huge fan of that band, so he will be mastering our CD for us.
Okay, good. And I guess now is as good a time as any to mention that we're going to do a record release party right here on this show for your new record. Yeah, I'm so excited. That'll be no date set yet. Sometime in mid-October, we'll work it out. So that's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's go back in time a little bit and talk about your histories with music. When did you start performing, and what are some other bands or projects that you've been involved in?
Well, my first band was out of upstate New York called Translucia. I was with that band for about 8 years, and then Mercury's Antenna, which originated in the Bay Area. But then, and that was going on for about 10 years. We put out 3 albums through Project Records. Did a lot of touring, played with a lot of awesome bands. Played at Wave Crusher and Gothic Festival, Whitby Festival. Before we kind of slowly took a major hiatus, we do have a 3rd album that may or may not be released. So we're still trying to navigate our way through that. And, then I met Leah and decided that I felt so inspired musically to create a new work, shed some old skin, and create music under my new living environment.
What about you, Leah?
And me, this is my first band officially, even though I do come from a musical family. My background is in the performing arts, but I have mostly been seen and not heard. So I've come up in dance and different types of theater, ranging from circus, sideshow to opera. So really, I've been on the fringe and just finally needed to be heard on some level. And so naturally, as a dancer, sometimes you just kind of start singing and you're in musicals. So I did do some of that as a child, but it got serious as an adult, and I just started working my voice. I do have a little bit of experience playing piano and have started playing bass guitar, but I'm nowhere near ready to present that publicly. But my voice is I'm like pleasantly surprised that it's come to this, that my last show was in the musical Chicago.
Okay.
And doing the cell block tango, and now I'm doing this really awesome work all of my own, which I much prefer to create my own art. I mean, it's been wonderful to work for other people's visions and put that together, but there's a lot more pride, positive, a positive way of creating your own.
And when I was visiting Leah prior to even making a demo, and when I was just visiting New Orleans, for a while, every couple of months, she would kind of bust out a song or sing or do little noodles, and I would just be like, oh, damn, wow, this woman has got a voice.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm glad that you did decide to do this because you have a wonderful voice, and now you can create with less restrictions, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because my family, they're all so surprised. They're like, I didn't know, and I guess I just was never singing by myself. A lot of times I'm singing in a group with others, so my voice is just part of a bigger sound. And I guess this is the first time some people are just hearing me.
Yeah.
I will admit my voice has been recognized for a long time. I've just had that response often. Somebody's like, I recognize your voice. I remember you because of your voice. And so I know it's always kind of been this strong part of me, even though I wasn't using it artistically. So now it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
To move that energy up here and, put my writing to use finally, because I've always kind of had a knack for writing as well. So it's it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm in love with her lyrics. They're just magical.
Yeah, yeah. Oh well, from what I've heard, yeah, they're very very good. There's something special about someone who is obviously a talented vocalist and front person. There's something special about their first band, I think. You know, um, who is it? The vocalist from Over, Portland. Speaking
Yeah.
of Portland. It's their first band and you would never know it. I mean, they are just like full on performer in the front, you know, edge of the stage, hovering over the audience with the microphone, just, you know, emoting everything. And Josie from the Ink Bats, it's it's her first band as well. And again, you would
Yeah,
never know it.
I love her voice when I seen you guys.
Amazing.
She's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Anyway, but yeah, to see that creativity sort of coming forward for the first time, and the cathartic nature of being a vocalist and having it be your own project and stuff is just, I don't know, just from an audience standpoint is a really fulfilling thing to see, especially if you know the context behind the person's, you know, history and everything. So again, congratulations, and I can't wait to hear the new stuff. So you potentially have a couple of other, besides your appearance on New Music Mondays in October, you have a couple of other potential appearances. There's a venue there in New Orleans called The Goat.
Yes.
That bands have been live streaming from. You might do something there. And speaking again of Portland, the Out From the Shadows Festival, Dave Cantrell is going to do something live, a live stream thing online, right?
Yeah, we're like in a queue waiting to see what goes on. And I know I think originally it was Portland, they'll call it for Portland bands, but then he started kind of out branching a little bit. And I have a really good relationship with Dave, and just thought I would love to try to, if I can't do it live in person, maybe try to do it through the stream concept, you know. Still a strange phenomenon right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's still trying to grasp.
When we first moved in here, I didn't expect that it had been about a year. I didn't expect that this room was going to become a venue.
Yeah, our office was going to be this.
So now we have lights and a fog machine and a webcam and a Twitch account.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Bands are doing it. They're turning their living rooms or whatever they can into little venues.
It's been inspiring to see all the others come forward and just keep on keeping on, and for us to have had any opportunities to do that, I feel like I'm part of that continuation, that force of just, we have to, that the show must go on somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier, like about, what's it like for a new band, and it's pretty like one part of it's intimidating, the other part is like, you have to just put a lot of your creativity in how to get your work across to people and to get people to hear your music. And I wouldn't say I don't have any formulas, and I'm sure a lot of us don't. It's been a strange and kind of bizarre experience, and I know that things will probably take a little bit longer than they normally do. But I've also learned that you can also learn from other bands and how they're doing things. So community is in the stream world, and you can be thankful for technology. Learning curve, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we also are having opportunities to see bands that,
Right.
we would never have a chance to,
Right.
especially living in the States where it's hard as hell for a band from Europe to come over at all.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And also the connections that we're making, I've personally been making connections with DJs from around the world that I would have never had a chance to work with before. Martin Oldgoff and DJ Poison Dwarf and like all these great people from like completely the other side of the world,
Yeah.
So I think that we will end it here. It's been really nice talking with you. I'm going to provide our viewers and listeners with links for how to find you. So Hi, viewers and listeners. Look for the links either below or in the chat room if you're watching live, because the Palace of Tears has a lot of great stuff coming up, live streams, and a full new album. And you can look for them again here in mid-October on Music Mondays. All right, Leah and Eric from the Palace of Tears, thank you so much for joining us on New Music Mondays. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Davey. Much gratitude. Thank you.
Hope to meet you in person.
That'd be great. Yeah, let's do it. Let's try. Yeah, let's try to get you all out here for a show when things get back to normal. All right, sounds
great. We'll be there.
All right, great. Thanks again. This is Tears of the Moon by the Palace of Tears, and you're watching New Music Mondays with Davey Bones.
Hi everyone, hope you liked that video. If so, please like and subscribe to receive notifications when we upload more content. New Music Mondays is a live stream show every Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on twitch.tv/DaveyBonesOakland. It features myself and a weekly guest DJ spinning new releases in the world of dark music, post-punk, goth, dark wave, as well as interviews with the people that make the music happen. So it's a lot of fun. Make sure to join us live. Again, it's every Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Or actually about 9:30 Pacific time. The audio will always be uploaded the next day to my Mixcloud page, mixcloud.com/DaveyBonesOakland. And thanks for watching the video on YouTube. The interviews will all be uploaded to the YouTube channel, as well as an occasional kind of behind the scenes video as well. Alright, thanks again.